especially now on the news in the last 24 hours, is a distraction to us living our best life. How many of you know that we are constantly being inundated and distracted from creating better health, creating relationships, creating finances, creating freedom, right? It's especially like in the last 24 hours, I'm like, everybody is glued to the media. And so I'm so happy that you joined me today and took time away to grow you and to upgrade your health and your wealth. So a little bit about my background for those of you that know me. My name is Renita Brandon. Up here, and let me make sure when you just came in, if you guys want to mute yourself when you come in the Zoom room, that would be really, really awesome. Let me mute all of you again one more time. But I'm from up in North Dakota, and I've been a health and wellness coach for 25 years. So I've helped people lose weight, feel great, get off their drugs, take control of their health, regain their eating, exercise. I have over 25 health and fitness certifications to teach exercise, nutrition, fitness. For many years, I was actually on the NBC News up here. I was the NBC health and fitness expert. So I was on television, had my own TV show for about 8.5 years, just sharing amazing health truth and health ideas, nutrition, fitness, everything, mind, body, all of it, with the North Dakota and South Dakota viewing audience. And it was actually, I did it for 8.5 years. I was the morning co-host on the morning show for many weeks. And eventually something wasn't aligning at the TV station. I'd come home and I'd tell my husband, you know what? Like today, I talked about a study that Coca-Cola funded this study. And they said that, it's that Coca-Cola is not causing heart problems or anything. It's actually the fat. And I'm like, sugar causes diabetes. Diabetes is linked to a whole lot of systemic problems and metabolic syndrome, right? And so I would get off the news after sharing a study and they'd say, Renita Roan, please report to the station manager. And it was pretty much like they were taking me out behind the shed and whipping me. And the station manager would say to me, Renita, Coca-Cola is our advertising dollars. You cannot be mentioning Coca-Cola. And I was just on there telling the truth. I was on there telling the truth about food, nutrition, the chemicals, all of it. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, I started revealing the truth about vitamin D and getting plenty of sunshine, not locking yourself indoors, right, guys? Vitamin A protects the epithelial lining of the lungs to strengthen our lungs. And I started giving very good, feedback for people to really take control of their health. They were all at home finally. No one had the excuse of I don't have time, because now all they had was time stuck in their houses. And I thought we're going to get everybody in the shape and health of their lives. And the news station called me and said, Renita, you are moving in a different direction than us. And I said to the station manager, who was Christian, I said to him, I have been and always will be moving in the direction of health and healing and vitality for North Dakotans and South Dakotans who watch the show. Right? We had about 600,000 people watching the show. I will always be standing for their health. That is what I'm about. And the station manager said, with that being said, we're moving in a different direction than you. And so we're going to have to cut ways. And so I didn't know at the time that me getting booted from the news was going to open up an avenue of educating people about freedom. And so I've come to you today with a message about health freedom, financial literacy. Now, all of you today come with a story, right? And a lot of times we're really, really good at repeating our past, just like I really just told you my past about what happened to me. And so you know who I am, right? I'm a health coach for 25 years. We live in North Dakota. We've got 3 sons, 24, 17, and 15. I'm married to Scott. We have lots of great things going on in our lives, but my past, I decided not to let it hold me back, right? I decided that God has me destined for a purpose. And so I better get busy with my purpose and get focused on where the Lord has me going in this moment, because it's very, very easy to get caught up with our old story. All of you today come in with a story, right? The question is are you repeating that story over and over and over and over? I haven't told that story that I just told you probably in quite a while. I don't walk around telling people that because it doesn't matter. What matters to me now is that we're going to help 1 million people get healthy, and we're going to create 200 millionaires in our business. That's my story now. That's the direction we're moving. Most people have very little knowledge about what it takes to actually be healthy. Most people have very little knowledge about what it takes to be financially literate and financially independent. We've been trained by a broken system. The school system is a broken system at this point. I'm not saying there's not excellent teachers. Maybe you're an excellent teacher. Praise the Lord for you. There's excellent teachers. There's excellent doctors in the medical system. But as a whole, the systems are not designed to create winners, millionaires, super duper healthy people. The system is simply created for you to be reliant on the system, right? And so once you bust out of that and change your thinking and decide you want to change your story. So how many of you today want to change your story? That's the question I'm going to first ask you. You all came in with the story, and I'm not saying, you know, all of our stories are bad. Hey, listen, I always say, take the good of your upbringing, take the good of what happened in your life. But we need to kind of let go of all that stuff that might be anchoring us to our past, anchoring us to kind of a lower frequency, anchoring us to sickness, anchoring us to poverty. Maybe that's you today. I don't know. Do you have anything anchoring you where you feel like, gosh, I just feel like I'm being held back. I feel like I'm not living my best life. I feel like I'm not living the abundant life that I could be living. Especially as a Christian, I believe that we are called to live this abundant life. It says in John 10:10, right? So we must be working on the new story. Exactly. I love it how Ethan just posted, I'm working on a new story. Yes, you have the pen. You are the script writer, right? You are the script writer. Okay. So a big exercise that I encourage all of you to do, if you've never ever done this before, is when we're done with this today, get a sheet of paper and you write the script of your life. You write it in first person as if something has already been accomplished that you want to accomplish. Let's say that you want excellent health. Let's say that you want to lose 50 pounds. Let's say that you want to make an extra 60, 100, $200,000 this year. Whatever it is, all of you came with a little bit different goal in mind. But could it be possible that you could write the script when you start writing down what you want as if it already happened in first person? Do you know that you start making room for that in your life? There's something in our bodies and our brains called the reticular activation system, RAS. Reticular activation system, it means what you start to focus on is what you're going to start seeing. How many of you have ever got a new car and then that day when you pulled out of the dealership, you saw 10 other cars, the same make and model and color as yours? How many of you have that's happened before? Right? It's called reticular activation system. So what happens in life is what we see is what we start looking for. And then our frequency is like, oh my gosh, everybody has a white Honda. Holy cow, I've seen 7 today. And it's only because you yourself are driving that white Honda, right? So that's called reticular activation system. Our brains actually want to find things of similarity. So this is good news and this is terrible news for those that are stuck on a low frequency. Your reticular activation system, if you're a person who's always looking for sickness, who's always looking for bad stuff, who's always looking for, oh, someone's ripping you off, or always thinking the world is out to get you, that RAS, that reticular activation system, is not your friend in that case. Because what's happening is you are always then seeing, you know, the bad in every situation, right? It's kind of like the glass half full people. And it's because the reticular activation has been negative. It's been derogatory. Maybe it's been complaining, right? Have you noticed the more you complain, the worse things get in your life? Does anybody else notice that? I have a resolve, never complain at a restaurant unless you want a glass of water on your lap. I mean, it never fails if we're at a restaurant and someone starts complaining and someone starts griping about something and then the other person's griping. And next thing you know, the water's getting tipped over on the table. The waitress is walking by and drops plates next to us. I mean, it just gets crazy. It's an energy, right? And the sooner you realize that we are all energy, and I'm not going to make it this like some do thing. I'm Christian. I love the Lord Jesus, but it says that we are called up. We are called to a better, a higher way of thinking, a more abundant way of thinking as Christians. We are not supposed to be the most broke. We are not supposed to be the most sick. We are not supposed to be the most depressed. And if you are, it's time to, like I said, to get rid of that past story. So some of you said you're ready to change your story. I'm going to teach you how to change your story today. Now, first of all, I'm actually, because Health is the easiest for me. I'm going to start with talking to you guys about money. How many of you know money matters? Raise your hand if you think money matters. Okay. How many of you, put your hand in the air? I can look at you guys. You can actually put the little hands up. How many of you know that you want to make more money? Maybe you came and you say, I want to make more money, Renita. I want to make more money. Okay. Now, listen, this is not a magic wand. This is not a Ponzi scheme. This is not something weird. I am coming to you with business principles and practices that are aligning with an upgraded frequency. So if you're watching this today, you want more in your life. You came and you said, I want more money. I want more fun. I want a vacation with my family. I want more freedom. And of course, we want more health, because I always say, you know what? Who cares if you have all the money in the world if you don't have the health to enjoy it, right? Just the other day with LifeWave, we actually had a billionaire with a B join our LifeWave team. Do you know why? Because billionaires want to be healthy enough to spend all their money, right? So you're never ever like, I always feel like no one's ever arrived physically or financially. We can always grow. We can always improve. We can always say, what do you have for me next, Lord? What's in store for me next, right? And so what happened for me is I had a paradigm shift, because I wasn't raised in abundance. I wasn't raised in an environment where the sky is the limit. You can do anything, Renita. That was not the environment I was raised in. In fact, it was exactly the opposite. I was raised in exactly the opposite environment. I'm not going to get into that right now, but what I want to tell you, what I learned about 10 years ago, I started asking myself this question: why not me? Why not me to make $1 million? Why not me to help 1 million people? Why not me to live a life of freedom, right? Why not me to make an impact and a difference in so many people's lives? Why not me? I started saying that, like, why not me? Instead of saying, it's never going to happen, I started saying, why not me? Why not me? I love the Lord Jesus. I love helping people. I'm a giver. I love serving others. I have energy. I have a vitality. I have a positive attitude. I love to work. Why not me? Why can't I make $1 million? Right? So I started changing my frequency from I can't, I won't, it won't happen, to why not me? And that just seems like a simple thing. But what happens as soon as you switch your mindset to something of positive nature? Do you guys know that you begin to attract positive? Just like when you're always talking about the negative and your sickness again, and the debt, and now everybody's talking about what happened in the last 24 hours, right? It's a very negative, angry, low frequency where nobody's really winning. No one's making gains. Everybody's fighting. It's just a very bad frequency. And so I'm saying, why not me? Why not you? Why not now? Why not now? In the history of mankind, when there's downturn economies, is when the most millionaires are generally created. Do you guys know that? When there's down seasons and there's down times, whether it's the economy or the depression, do you know that people have the best ideas and the most genius comes at those moments? But it's those people that are saying, why not me? What do you have for me, Lord? What's next, right? You start having this open attitude, like, I'm going to change my life. I'm ready to change my life. I'm sick of dragging around that dead old body. In fact, I'll tell you one story that will stick with you for a long time. Back in biblical times, when someone used to commit murder, they wouldn't always just kill the person in the center of town square. Sometimes they would tie the dead body around the person that killed them. And then guess what happened? That living person had to walk around their whole lives. They had to sleep with the dead person. They had to eat with the dead person. And eventually, of course, it would kill the person, right? Because they're rotting and the rotting flesh and the stench of it all. But instead of just killing the person, they would just drag around that dead body because they physically attached the dead body to the murderer. Have you guys ever heard about this? Well, I feel like all of us, maybe we're not dragging around a dead body, but we're dragging around a dead past. We're dragging around a dead way of thinking. We're dragging around debt. We're dragging around sickness, right? And it's literally holding us back. It's weighing us down. And essentially, if we let it go on long enough, it will eat away and kill us, right? And so we have got to be set free. We've got to realize there's more in store. God wants us well. The first thing I want you to start saying out loud is, God is for me. Like, that's a wake-up call for some people. God is for me. And you guys can say, you can put in the chat, say it out loud at home. God is for me. Say, God wants me wealthy. Why not? Are you supposed to be broke? Show me in the Bible where it says you're supposed to be stone broke and miserable, not being able to pay your bills. Thank you, Debbie Martin. God is for me. Okay. God, why not me to create massive wealth? Say, God, God wants me happy. God wants me wealthy. Do you think God wants a bunch of dang depressed, broke, sick Christians? How inspiring is that for the rest of the world? It's not. Okay. So God wants us well. God wants us wealthy. God is for me. Okay. God is for me. Say it out loud. God is for me. And get excited about this message because God is for you, my friends. Listen, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, it says in the word of God, right? But you've got to get in alignment because it says, seek first the kingdom of heaven and everything else will be added unto you. Let's talk about the kingdom of heaven. What is heaven? I don't know. I've heard the streets are paved with gold and they eat a lot of kiwi, right? So when we think seek first the kingdom of heaven, I think, what is heaven going to look like? Love, abundance, joy, right? Think about these things. Health, freedom. There's no sickness in heaven, right? That's for the pit of hell, right? Think about this. And I just put it in the chat. When you think of heaven, what do you think? I think Jesus, right? I think God in heaven, my heavenly Father, unconditional love, unconditional glory, unconditional grace, unconditional everything. God just is so for us. It says in the word of God, if he is for us, who can be against us? I've realized most people are against themselves, my friends. How many of you are that person? You know who I'm talking to. If God is for us, then who shall be against us? And many times it's our stinking thinking. It's our old baggage that we're dragging around, right? It's that old story that we've got literally on the repeat button where we keep playing it day after day. And sometimes we don't even just say it once a day. Sometimes you say it 3, 4, 5 times when you run into people, right? Every time you run into somebody, you're saying that old crap story. A great book I read by T. Harv Eker. It's called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It says one sentence. It says, when you complain, you become a walking, talking crap magnet. Okay. When you complain, and that's a very good visual, isn't it? When you complain, you become a walking, talking crap magnet. Just like I said at the beginning, when you notice everything going wrong, it's impossible for the brain to see the right things that are happening. If you're always on the complaint train, it's always impossible to see the goodness of God happening. How about we change our frequency and literally, instead of, it's like if I have a whole picture here, imagine if I had a whole picture and over here there's darkness and over here there's a big sunshine with flowers. And now let's say this, the whole picture exists, but I just have a square and I show you this square. Well, now all you're seeing is the darkness down here in the corner, right? But let's say I move that square. Let's say I move that lens over to the sunshine and the flowers. Well, now you're seeing sunshine and flowers, but I could very quickly move it back to the darkness over here, right? So what if all of this, how much money we make, how healthy we are, how joyful we are, how abundant our lives are, is what we're focusing on? And what if what we're focusing on, we get more of? Because that's exactly what happens. All right. So I love it. I love it. And again, celebrate with those who celebrate. One thing that I really realized that held me back for a long time is when I would see people making money, I would say, oh, that rich person. And I would say something derogatory about it. And then one day I thought to myself, why am I cursing that person that is taking their family on a beautiful vacation that I want my family on? And the verse in the Bible says, celebrate with those who celebrate. And I caught myself cursing that which I wanted. I wanted the freedom. I wanted the big house in a safe neighborhood, right? Why not me? I wanted money to travel the world with my family. I wanted adventure. I wanted money so I can give tips of $100 or $200 to the waitress if I want to. Why not me, right? And so I really had this self-check where I came and I thought, you know what? I'm complaining and cursing about people that I actually want that abundance. It's like when you see a really fit person. Ask my husband, Scott. When I see a fit person, do you know what I say to them? Wow, you are in such great shape. Way to work so hard at your health. I never look at them and say, oh yeah, there they are, flaunting their muscles again. If you're doing that, that's why you're sick. If you're making snide remarks about the people that have money, that's why you're still broke. And so what I realized is, oh, I want the health. I want the freedom. I want the abundance. I want the financial independence. So I'm not reliant on somebody else like the federal government, right? I want those things. So the last thing we ought to be doing is judging them, cursing them, or making snide comments about them. So be very, very careful. I was doing this kind of unconsciously, because how many of you know we all have a financial, basically kind of IQ that we came into this life with? That financial IQ a lot of times was developed between the ages of 0 and 6 years old, 0 and 7 years old. It's what we witnessed our moms and dads talking about when it came to money. If you watched your mom chronically be broke, right, struggling for money, maybe chronically sick, maybe you watched a mother who was chronically ill or chronically dieting, right? Think about this. This all played into our foundational belief system. Now I'm going to ask you one question. Is that foundational belief system that you have attached to, that you've been dragging along, is it giving you the life of your dreams? Is it creating the money you want? Is it creating the health you want? Is it creating the relationships you want? Is it creating the adventure you want? And if the answer is no, then you might have to reconsider those foundational beliefs and be willing to create new beliefs, okay? Because the new beliefs are going to pull you forward. Have you ever heard in life there's something called the pain/pleasure principle? Some people are motivated more by pain and others by pleasure. Studies now show that, some people don't make a change with their health until they have a heart attack and they nearly die. And then they plead with God and say, if you save my life, Lord, I'll change my ways, right? And then that person goes on a brand new trajectory because they lived. But it took that great pain of that heart attack and that near-death experience for them to get to change, right? Sometimes that happens financially as well. I'm a big believer in don't wait to get so sick before you get well. Don't wait to be so broke and downtrodden before you start to create multiple streams of income, right? We don't have to be sick and broke to want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. You guys know that? You don't have to be on this end of the spectrum to want to be over here. You could be in the middle, say, you know what, I've got a pretty okay job. I feel like I could do better financially. I don't take vacations. I don't like my boss that much. I would like to create an additional source of income. And the second part of that is your health is affecting your wealth, okay? And your wealth is affecting your health, okay? Because when people don't have money to spend things on the things that they want to buy, maybe it's a massage, maybe it's a chiropractic adjustment, maybe it's patches, maybe it's LifeWave patches, right? The X39 patches. Maybe you're caught in a mentality, well, my insurance doesn't pay for it, I'm not going to do it. And if that's you, I pray today is your breakthrough moment, because I have a new way of thinking for you, a new perspective. You don't have to only do what you were raised at 0 through 6 or 7 years old to do. You can come out of that belief. I decided about 20 years ago that I was going to be the generational chain breaker. Generation after generation after generation after generation of sickness in my family, right? They all got sick and died of something. Strokes, Alzheimer's, I don't know. You guys all know what it is in your family, but they all were something. And I made a decision like, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to do anything that they're doing. In fact, I want to do the opposite, right? And that's going to take some courage. And I remember when I started talking and thinking differently, some of my own relatives would say, oh yeah, she's too good for us. And I said, that's not it at all. I just want a different outcome that everybody else that's gone before me has had. And when I want a different outcome, I'm going to have to create some different habits and elicit some different behavior, right? How many of you know that if you want a different outcome, you got to change the direction. You cannot stay on the exact same path you're on right now. Let's say that you're flying in an airplane and it's headed to, I don't know, let's say South Dakota, from North Dakota to South Dakota. And you're saying, but I don't want to go to South Dakota. I want to go to Florida. But you say, I want to go to Florida, and you keep on that airplane that's headed to South Dakota. Where are you going to land? South Dakota, because nothing's changed. Eventually, you got to say, I got to shift. I got to adjust. I got to adjust where I'm going. I got to make some different choices. I got to change a little bit. It might make people uncomfortable because I want to change the trajectory of my airplane to get to Florida, because I don't want to go to South Dakota. Been there, done that. I want to go to Florida, right? So you can't say I want a different outcome and keep doing the exact same thing. So I came to you today, not just as a hype, not just as a motivational, but I want to tell you, I've been in the trenches. Financially, we've been in the trenches. There were times we couldn't even afford groceries. We had our oldest son, he's now 24. I remember when he was a little boy, about 5. I remember one time I didn't have enough money to get bread. And so guess what I did? I opened his piggy bank and I took out money. So it's not like I was raised with some abundance, financially free mentality. I mean, I was like literally taking from my 5-year-old's piggy bank, right, guys? But there was a point in my life, it didn't happen in that moment, but it happened later on, where I just started saying the question, why not me? Why not me to make $1 million? I knew that I was the one who broke the chains with health. My health looks nothing like my relatives. It looks nothing like my mom and dad, right? I was the generational health change breaker. So why not be the generational wealth chain breaker, right? And so with that being said, I had to start thinking differently. I had to literally brainwash myself. How many of you know it's all programming? In fact, in the olden days when we were kids, I remember the TV would only go until midnight, and then the black and white ants would come on and it'd say the programming for the day has ended. That's what they actually call it, the programming, right? So they're programming us with this media, right? And so we've been programmed to believe or think a certain way. And sometimes if we think outside of that, people think, "Is she nuts? What is she talking about? You know, she's talking about energy. I'm uncomfortable with it." We're all energy. All you got to know is that the entire body is like, hey, listen, we function with cellular health. This is called a cell phone, okay? We function with cellular health. We are made up of cells of our body, and all of our cells, remember the protons and neutrons and electrons inside the cells, positive, protons were positive. Remember this? Our entire body functions on a positive, negative charge. It's not weird. It's not occultic. It's science, right? And so when you realize that you can change the chemistry of your body with light, I'm going to teach you about light right now, and you can change the way you think. And by doing it repeatedly over and over and over, you can set a new trajectory for the airplane. So the airplane's not going to end in South Dakota. It's going to go to Florida. But there's going to need to be some changes made in order for that to happen, right? Because if you're making the same decisions about the same stuff, you're going to get the same result. How many of you know that? You make exactly the same. In fact, they call that insanity. Deciding the same thing over and over and over and expecting something to change. That's called insanity. You have to say, you know what? I'm going to move in a different direction now. I'm going to try something different because that has not worked. Or maybe it's worked for a little while, but I'm ready to upgrade my life. All right, let's go, guys. So the first thing I want to show you the freedom model of network marketing. Okay, I want to give you this image. And this image was actually made for me by a friend of mine who was actually a medical doctor. Can you believe this? She made this little thing for me because I said to her, you know, I was dealing with these doctors with network marketing, and most people have never educated themselves about network marketing. How many of you know? People say, oh, is that one of those pyramid things? No, a pyramid thing would be the medical system. There's a CEO at the hospital at Sanford that makes more than the nurses, right? The janitors are even paid less than the nurses, right? So there's a hierarchy that happens in every one of these systems. How about the government system? Think about the government system, right? Think about all the areas of government that we really adhere to. All right. Another system is like the school systems, right? Do you think the dean of a college makes more money than the teachers? Of course he does, right? Those are actually pyramids. They're set up in this model. The beautiful thing about true network marketing is it flips that model on its head, and it allows average, everyday, ordinary people like me to be extraordinary because I choose to be. It allows people like, I'm looking at some names here, Diana. It allows her to be extraordinary. Why? Because she's like, you know what? I don't want to do the mundane anymore. God created me for greatness. Start saying that out loud. God created me for greatness. Not just to say, ta-da, look at me, but to say, you know what? Let's go change and impact and help save some lives. Let's go make a difference in people's lives, right? If you're broke and sick and dying, I'm going to tell you, it's hard to make a massive move on the kingdom of heaven because you are so consumed with your sickness and your debt, right? It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've got to feed a person first because their stomachs are growling before we start teaching them something, right? We got to go with that foundational stuff. But the big pharma model is actually a very, very destructive model. There's literally like 10 to 12 organizations in the world that own everything. Literally, do you guys know this? You've seen this picture where every company is tied back to 10 or 12 owners in the world. I'm talking, guys. This is crazy to think about. So in order to escape that very much that pyramid system, the pyramid system is anything with the word system behind it. So a governmental system, the school system, right? Think about any of the things that you're using with the word system. The reason they created the system is to get people locked in that mindset, right? And I'm over here talking about the freedom model on the right-hand side. So check out the freedom model. The freedom model, we can have an 85-year-old making an extra $1,000 a week. The freedom model, we can have a 20-year-old making an extra $3,000 a week. The freedom model is anyone and everyone has the opportunity to benefit from a financial gain because they're sharing a product that they believe in that works. Okay, guys, the freedom model works. Network marketing has been around for, 100 years. And guess what? The most female millionaires in the world are created in network marketing. It's bigger than any other network, or I should say any other industry in the world. The most millionaires in the world are creating in network marketing. That should give all of us females that are on here a little hope. If you're, sitting at your day job waiting to get a raise, I'm saying start a side hustle, start a plan B, get involved with network marketing. It's going to change your life. Just the personal development alone. I have some friends and they say, I hate self-help books. I love them. Everybody I know who reads self-help books and applies them, I want to be around those people. I want my children around those people, right? When people say, I hate personal health development books, what do you hate about them? The fact that people are trying to improve themselves, they're trying to grow themselves, they're trying to grow their marriages, they're trying to grow their finances. If we're hating on people for that reason, we're very confused, my friends. So we've got to get on over and move from that big pharma model. Look at this. Do you guys know? Let me just draw it out for you. Hopefully you can all see that. Big pharma spends nearly $30 billion plus a year on medical marketing. Billion with a B, say 30 billion. Do you want me to count to 30 billion? I'll never get there in my lifetime, guys. 30 billion is spent a year on medical marketing. And who sees this first? Well, of course, the lobbyists. You guys know the pharmaceutical lobbyists and the agricultural lobbyists are the biggest out in DC. What do these lobbyists do? Well, a lot of them take the politicians out for dinner with low-cut dresses, beautiful blonde hair. Listen, if you think I'm BSing you with this, I remember one time I was going to bat for something in North Dakota. We were going to add additional tax. It was actually something with dealing with tobacco, right? And I remember the tobacco industry found out that we were voting on this. And the night before the vote with the legislators, they flew in from Philip Morris. You guys know that? That's like the tobacco companies. They flew in these blonde bombshells. These gals were knockouts, low-cut dresses, and they went up to the state capitol and they took the politicians out for dinner at an expensive restaurant on town. Got them all lubed up, got them out for dinner, and guess what happened? The next day, something that should have been a slam dunk for the state of North Dakota, the politicians did not do it. Why? The lobbyists. So the lobbyists are the people that kind of go in there and they try to sway the judgment of the politicians or the decision makers. So I've literally been part of something where I've witnessed that happen. So it happens all the time. Do you guys think it happens in Washington, D.C. a little bit? Sometimes you wonder how some of these politicians get so wealthy in their careers. Well, they're taking this side money, right, to be voting certain ways. The bottom line is that's happening all day long in the pharmaceutical industry, right? They're paying government, employers, insurers. All these people are getting their pockets lined, right? And then eventually it goes down to the pharmacy benefit manager. So they're getting a cut in the funds. And eventually it goes into maybe your physician's office or the hospitals or CVS or places like that, right? All of this. And do you know the biggest consumer of the drugs in our country is the federal government? How many of you know the US government is the #1 consumer of drugs in the United States? Do you know why? Because of all the drugs they push on everybody on welfare. So the majority of the drugs, it's a crazy system when you say it out loud, but the bottom line is eventually it gets down to the patients, and the patients say, oh, thank you, I got my drug, and I only have to pay my $10 copay, right? But then what happens? For every drug, there's 1 to 3 side effects, and then you go back to your doctor and they want to put you on another drug. And truth is, I've had horror stories of people on my team that their parents, their elderly parents in the nursing homes are on 38 medications. Imagine a 90-year-old person on 38 medications. Who in their right mind with any kind of conscience calls himself a doctor and does that to an elderly person. It's insanity to me. I call it insanity, right? Anyway, the bottom line is we don't want to participate in the insanity anymore. I'm not participating in that big pharma model where it's just everything's top down. I want the freedom model. I want the freedom model where my son can make more money than me. I want the freedom model where the elderly person that just joins can make an extra $5,000 a month because they're living on a fixed income with Social Security. I want the freedom model for everybody who wants a freedom model. And here's the thing. Most people have never been taught how to do taxes. How many of you in the chat, type in the chat, do you feel like you're good or bad at taxes? Okay. Most people do not know how to do taxes, right? They don't realize that when you launch a home-based business, a network marketing business, when you launch a home-based business, do you realize how tax efficient you are? A portion of your home becomes a tax deduction. Your cell phone is now a monthly tax deduction. My computer that I'm talking to you on is a tax deduction. My internet service, my monthly internet service is a tax deduction. And our cell phone, we've all got cell phones over here. So now we're talking about our cell phone bill's like $600 a month or something crazy. That's all a tax deduction. Do you know why? Because we're using our phones to build our business, right? So the bottom line is people were never taught that they could start a home-based business and become extremely tax efficient. So if you're on here today and you're a W-2 paid employee, I've got great news for you. You are on the right Zoom, because if you get started with a home-based business, you will literally change your financial future. If you've been the person who's been in a 30%, 40% tax bracket, right, paying all this money to Uncle Sam, so God knows where they're sending this money to at this point, it's nuts. You need to become financially educated about how you can pay less taxes. How can you do that? By starting a home-based business. By starting a home-based business, my friends, because when you start a home-based business, a portion of all your product is a tax deduction, a portion of your home is a tax deduction, your computer, your telephone, your internet, any time you go out for lunch or dinner, or let's say you take a trip and you share with somebody sitting next to you on the plane, you're talking to somebody sitting next to you on the plane, that flight was now a tax deduction. When we flew back from Bora Bora, my sons were sitting in the front of the plane, and I went up to the front of the plane, and I knew we were going to fly 9 hours from Bora Bora back to Bismarck, and I put patches, phototherapy patches, on each of the boys so they could sleep while we were flying over the ocean. Well, within 15 minutes, I had a gal come to the back of the plane, and she said, "Hello, you don't know me, but I just was visiting with your son, Truett, your 17-year-old. And he was telling me about the patch that you put on him." I said, "Oh," she said, "Yes, when you came up to the front, I simply asked your son, what is that your mother put on you?" And Truett said, "It's LifeWave X39 patches." And as they began to talk, the woman said, "First of all, your son has excellent communication skills." She said, "Secondly, we want the patches." She said, I run a business in Chicago where we deal with children on the spectrum with autism. And she said, "We want these patches." When I heard what these patches can do, they're phototherapy, they don't interact with drugs, they're non-invasive. She said, "We want these patches for these kids." You know, the reason I'm telling you that is we were on a flight back from Bora Bora. Now that flight home was a tax deduction. Why? That lady signed up in our business from Chicago. Why? Because I was patching somebody. So imagine a flight home from Bora Bora, tax deduction, write that bad boy off, right, guys? So again, we've not been trained to become financially literate. So I'm going to get started. I showed you a little bit about the freedom model, and I want you to know my husband, Scott, did an entire presentation about the tax benefits. He can teach you exactly how to launch your business at the beginning, be in a monthly auto ship, and you're going to save more money this year on your taxes than you paid for all of that product combined. So now you're getting healthy with phototherapy, and you're making money, and you're making a difference in people's lives and living a great life of purpose, and you're paying less taxes. They're not teaching this in the school systems. Listen, my son Bo literally just got done with college, and he said, "Mom, they don't teach anything about network marketing." In fact, one final story, my son Bo was graduating college, and he had a final project he had to do, and he said, "I'm going to use the LifeWave business, Mom. I got a LifeWave business that's making, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to use this as my final project for marketing because we're supposed to launch a business." And the teacher who was teaching my son was a transgender. And she said to my son, If your business makes money, you don't get any extra credit. I just want you to know. I mean, can you imagine a business teacher telling a student, if your business makes money, you don't get extra credit? These are the fools teaching our youth. If I was a teacher, I'd say the more money you make, the more extra credit you get, because we want people with businesses that are thriving and making money and making a difference and maybe employing people in the community, right? We want people not going broke. We want people making large sums of money and making an impact. But instead, she told the students, and don't think you're going to get extra credit if your business makes any money. Are you kidding me that an educator in the college, we're paying for this? This is the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? So that is kind of where the school systems are at. They're not educating about financial freedom, tax benefits, financial literacy. In fact, that transgender teacher told my son, you can't use LifeWave. My son said, LifeWave's available in 80 countries. It's doing over $400 million. What do you mean I can't use LifeWave? She said, you can't use LifeWave. She said, tell me if you're going to open a storefront to sell these patches out of. My son Bo goes, no, I'm not going to open a storefront. I had a couple friends who own gyms in Fargo, and during the pandemic, the gyms got shut down. So no, I'm not going to open a bricks and mortar business. I don't have, that's not what I want to do, because that's at high risk if another pandemic would happen, right? So she would not let him do it. And I said, Bo, forget about that person. Let the Lord fight your battle. I said, don't even think about it. Don't talk about it. God's going to work it out for you. Do you know that Bo called me a week later and he said, Mom, you're never going to believe it. I said, she quit. He said, she did. She actually resigned. I said, praise the Lord Jesus. And he said, and a new teacher came in, and I've already presented LifeWave to her, and she loves the idea. Do you know that that new teacher gave Bo an A+ for that final project? She was so intrigued and interested with LifeWave. She offered Bo an additional $15,000 to stay and get his master's. I said, get the heck out of the college system. But that is the difference in thinking. One was a confused person, right? The transgender teacher was a confused person, and the other was right thinking. And she said, oh my gosh, what a great opportunity for you, Bo, right? So listen, you're going to come across people that are confused. Maybe it's your sister-in-law. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's your coworker, right? Because remember, when you're going to change the plane from going from North Dakota to South Dakota to North Dakota over to Florida, you're going to have some people that ask you, like, are you nuts? What are you doing? Right? Because that's not their norm. They've been trained to think like the masses, right? And the masses are not getting financially free. In fact, there's more people in debt and on depression medication than there's ever been in the entire history of mankind. So we're going to get to the brass tacks. Have you been patched yet? I want you all patched. I want you understanding phototherapy and light therapy. Let's get to the brass tacks of phototherapy. So I want to tell you, I'm sharing with you the company LifeWave. And the reason this is so wonderful is because hardly anybody in the world knows about LifeWave. Hardly anybody you talk to, if you go talk to 10 of your friends and say, what do you know about phototherapy? They're not going to know. They're going to say, what is that? People don't know what phototherapy is. It's very cutting edge. It's very new in the world of healthcare. Okay. And if you guys right now do know about phototherapy, I want you to type in the comments, I do know. And it was really interesting because right before I got on here, I'm going to share something with you real quick. I thought, I'm just going to Google phototherapy and see what comes up. And I want to play for you guys very quickly. I'm not going to play it all. Just going to play like 2 minutes of this video. Do you know that phototherapy is changing lives and has been for a long time? Do you know that Mayo Clinic and many clinics are using phototherapy for their patients already? Do you know that they're using different frequencies of light to heal people's cancer? How many of you know that they're using different frequencies of light to heal people's cancer? And in fact, it was interesting because I literally just put it on like a Google search, like, hey, phototherapy. And what came up was a thing talking about someone using light to cure cancer. So I'm going to play it for you. We're not going to watch it all because we're going to get to the patches because I want to teach you guys how to get financially free. But I'm going to show you real quick. Let me see if you guys can do this with me. Let me pull it up here. And then I'm going to screen share with you guys because I am going to show you. And again, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. This is crazy. Thank you, Jenna. She's known about it for 2 years since she heard about LifeWave. Well, I've been the biggest fan of the sunlight my whole life. As a kid, I used to just lay in the sun. I love the sun. I always felt better. My moods were better. And by the way, has your doctor told you that every single hormone in your body needs sunlight. Let me say that again. Every single hormone in your body needs the actual sun outside to regulate itself. For there to be hormonal balance in the body, you must be exposed to the sun. Okay, most doctors are not talking that language, right, guys? Most doctors that we talk to are like, they don't even talk like that. But I thought I'm going to show you this very quick little video here. And again, I'm not going to watch it all because we've got to get to the brass tacks of what we're here for today. But I want to show this to you guys. Ready? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it when it starts. I thought it was really, really cool that I just Googled it.
A St. Louis scientist devised a new light-based cancer therapy. It's a light source that can kill cancer cells in deep tissues where you cannot possibly shine an outside light. The research is considered a real breakthrough, now receiving substantial funding. Destroying cancer cells wherever they are after just one procedure. For scientists like Samuel Achillifu, nothing seems impossible.
When people tell us something is impossible, that's when we get to work.
Scientists inside Achillifu's laboratory are hard at work with the hope of killing cancer and saving lives. The professor of radiology and biomedical engineering is using a new light-based therapy at Washington University School of Medicine. Light has long been used to treat cancer, but phototherapy, as it's called, is only effective where light can easily reach, such as cancers of the skin and areas accessible with an endoscope. Now, Achillifu has devised a way to apply a new form of light therapy to deep tissues never before accessible.
Metastatic cancer, cancer that are spread to all parts of the body, and cancer that are much deeper in tissue like lung cancer or colon cancer, they couldn't be treated with light.
He's delivering a light source directly to tumor cells in a way that the light will destroy cancer cells.
We have a lot of radioactive materials that are used in clinics today, and those materials are conventionally used to find where cancer cells are. Form of light or radioactive materials that can be detected from the outside of the body.
The light from the radioactive materials destroys the cancer cells when it interacts with another injected drug, a chemotherapy drug that's sensitive to light. It's a photosensitive source of free radicals that can be activated by the light to destroy cancer. He's using a novel cancer targeting product and other materials.
Wild. This stuff is wild. Okay, how many of you know that LifeWave phototherapy patches, the first people ever to hire David Schmidt to create a phototherapy technology tool was the Department of Defense? How many of you know that? Do you know that information that 20 years ago, David Schmidt was actually hired by the Department of Defense 20 years ago? Now listen to this. That video I just showed you is like 7 years old and we're not going to watch it anymore. But the point of it is phototherapy works and it's real, but it's not talked about by your primary care physicians because they don't know how to talk about it. They're trained to treat diseases with drugs. That's how they're trained, you guys. But get this, 20 years ago, David Schmidt literally was contracted by the Department of Defense, DOD, to create a wearable phototherapy technology, light therapy technology to help the Navy SEALs to stay awake during Hell Week. These Navy SEALs, they were, overworked. They were working long hours. Many of them were having accidents. They were just not performing well. And David came out with the first patch called Energy Enhancer. I'm holding it here in my hand. Now, Energy Enhancer was used by the Navy SEALs. The reason the funding ended, you guys know why the funding ended with the DOD? Because 9/11 happened. I don't know if you know that part of the story, but 9/11 happened. And then all of a sudden, no one was focused on phototherapy anymore with the Navy SEALs. They were like, everybody was redirected toward this 9/11 incident, right? But the bottom line is Here they're talking about the DOD funding this guy's cancer light therapy. And I'm like, oh yeah, David had that 20 years ago, you guys. Can you believe that we have the power to benefit financially? Think about this. Thank God David Schmidt did network marketing with these patches. If not, we wouldn't be here talking about financial freedom or financial literacy or financial independence or paying less taxes, right? But this is the first patch David came out with, and it's Energy Enhancer. And it's a 2-patch system, white on the right, tan on the left. It was used by the Navy SEALs. And then, of course, it was used by the United States Female Olympic Swim Team. It's a tan patch and a white patch. You put white on the right side of your body and you put tan on the left. And this is called lung 1 in Chinese medicine right there, lung 1. Woo, lung 1's a good place to put patches to help breathing, the lungs. Plus it helps to get rid of old trapped emotion. Lung 1 right there, tan on the left, white on the right, tan on the left. But you guys know that when you wear those patches, you burn 30% more fat during a workout. And that's why they work for the Navy SEALs. And that's why they work for the United Female Olympic Swim Team, because those swimmers would keep their energy going and up because their bodies were burning fat while they were swimming, and it would keep their energy high and balanced. How awesome is that? We knew about phototherapy before this little thing I just showed you from 7 years ago. David Schmidt was contracted 20 years ago. Isn't this crazy to think about, that we have this technology that's wearable, affordable, in our hands? You don't have to go to a medical establishment. You don't have to, literally, we have the phototherapy patch. We're carrying it around. We're wearing it. It's affordable. It's the easiest thing in the world to use. And when you share it with others, you're going to make money. Are you kidding me? This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Now let's get back on over, and I'm going to quickly flip through the flip chart here to get this party moving down the road, because I know a lot of you are limited on time and I want to get to a little bit more of the money aspect. So again, all LifeWave products are free from drugs, chemicals, and stimulants. And I'm not coming on here telling you retreat, cure, or prevent disease. Only the pharmaceutical drug lords can say that. I can't tell you anything, but I can tell you this. The pharmaceutical giants own disease names. They own cancer. They own diabetes. They own all of these disease names. You know why? Because literally they match a disease to a drug. They play the matchy-matchy game, the disease, drug, right? So that's why we are not able to use the word cure, right? Because only if you're a pharmaceutical drug lord can you use the word cure. And I want to know, what have they cured at all in the last 50 years, right? Nothing. They're not curing anything. All they're doing is giving you a matchy-matchy drug. And usually you end up on more drugs because you're treating the side effects from the drugs, right? So I want you to know that phototherapy and these patches, there's no drugs, there's no chemicals, there's no stimulants. The only thing that enters the body when you put them on is light. Light therapy. Light is what enters the body. Now remember, I got started because of my aging mom and dad. Mom had a big change with her health, with her Parkinson's. On day 11, she was walking without the walker. Her penmanship came back. She gained 25 pounds. She had melted away from 169 all the way to 99 pounds. Now she's up to about 123. She's like Rocky, okay? Teeth came back. All of her dental work that she could not get to set for 2 years was just a total crime scene. 2 months on the patches, the dentist is like, I'm looking at a different set of teeth here. Penmanship came back, her ability to use knives and cut and peel potatoes. I mean, everything. It changed my mom's life. And then my dad was a one-patch wonder. So my father was dealing with these oozing legs you see on the left there for 6 months. We doctored and doctored with 12 different types of doctors. Nothing got better. I put a patch on my father. You guys, the legs on the right, hopefully you all can see those. That is my dad's legs 24 hours after his first patch. They literally dried up, all of that big swollen ankle gone overnight. It was a miracle. And so that is why we got in the patch business, because when I saw the miracle of my mom and dad, and I honestly thought, hey, listen, you know, they're 80 and 76. They're in rough shape. What's it going to do for somebody who's got a little pain in their knee, right? If it did this to these two, right? So that's actually why we got started. So we get to see miracle after miracle after miracle. Our business is the currency of miracles. We're not scared over here. We're not living in fear. We are the currency of miracles. So this is my friend Mark Reynolds. He cut his hand on rebar. I told his wife, make sure you put an X39 patch on the one side and an Eon patch on the other. He did it. That hand you're looking at was 24 hours later. His wife posted it on Facebook. It was a miracle. We see my friend Penny, her hands, she had dealt with awful, dermatitis and, these very, very psoriasis, eczema looking hands for 7 years. Ever since she had chemotherapy, she had dealt with these darn hands. She got a hold of me. She said, Renita, is the patch going to work? And I said, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot, Penny. There's a 30-day money back guarantee. If it doesn't work, get your money back. The picture she sent me on the right is 5 days later. Can I get some hands in the air for that? Let's go. 5 days later on that patch. That poor woman had been dealing with those darn hands for 7 years. 5 days later, completely changed her life. So if you are ready for miracles, if you are ready for joy, if you are ready for light, I am telling you what, buckle up. LifeWave is it. And also, it's not just for old people with bad hands and bad skin. We have so many incredible athletes that are having breakthroughs with their stamina, with their muscle recovery, with their performance. They're stronger, better, faster. They're amazing. Miracle breakthroughs. My son was one of them his senior year of college when he was dealing with these crazy teachers. He had the best track season of his life. He didn't have to go to the trainer once in the last track season for any injury. He had his times got faster and faster every single race. They drug tested my son both 3 times because they thought he was doping. No to the dope. He wasn't doping. He was patching. My son was patching and only light was entering his body. So we see miracle breakthroughs with young people and their athletic abilities. Now, again, we talked about David Schmidt. This guy got the original money from the DOD, right? And that was 20 years ago. And since then, this guy has over 130 patents. He's a brilliant scientist and inventor. He's a humble lover of Jesus. And this guy really, he was doing so well with these patches. But in 2008, he said, let's focus our attention on stem cell research. Let's focus on how we can literally activate our body's innate ability to heal with stem cells and how we can do it with light. So David took 10 years and $4.5 million to bring to market the X39 patch. Write that down. X39 patch is really what all of you need to get started with tonight. You can talk to who invited you on. They're going to help you get rocking and rolling. Now, what do you know about stem cells? I didn't know much. I knew that they were expensive. I was worried about them because I'm Christian. So I always thought to myself, are they injecting aborted baby fetuses? We had considered taking my mom down to Tijuana before we got started with LifeWave. But guess what? We called Tijuana and they wanted $10,000. And they said we might have to come back for multiple visits because it doesn't always work, right? So I didn't know much about stem cells, but I knew they were very expensive. I didn't know what was in the needle. And I was nervous about that because I'm very much a freedom fighter. I don't want to just take a needle, right? And so what I did not know is that stem cells literally are the cells in our body that create all the health and wellness. Do you guys know that? If you go to the New England Journal of Medicine, they say the #1 indicator of how well and healthy we are, well, maybe wealthy eventually, right? How well and healthy we are is going to be directly linked to the number of stem cells in our bloodstream. Did you guys know that? And do you know that there's 2 things that eat up stem cells like a Pac-Man? One of them is the aging process, okay? Most everybody that on here that I know is probably getting a little bit older every year, all right? The second thing that eats up stem cells is inflammation. So if you're on here tonight, you've had chronic inflammation, back pain, maybe you've had Hashimoto's, maybe you've had just something that's very inflammatory, that eats up our stem cells. This is why people are aging so fast right now and everybody's getting diseases, because by age 30, we naturally have a 60% reduction of the stem cell activity. Stem cells can repair anything in our body when we're young. Anything can be repaired by stem cells. But by age 50, we've got a 75% reduction. By age 60, a 90% reduction. By age 80, a 95% reduction, which is why we saw such fast results with my dad's legs, right, guys? So how the patch works, it contains an organically based nanocrystal mixture. We're talking water, salt, sugar, oxygen, amino acids, all natural, okay? Those ingredients, they act like a little lattice in the patch. And what happens is our bodies emit light. How many of you know that you emit light? Now, you might not see it with the naked eye, but if I put those night vision goggles on and I looked at you like the military has those night goggles, and I could see you at night running across my yard, right? Because those night goggles detect infrared heat. So we all emit low-level infrared heat and light. So when we put that patch on our body, this is not a nicotine patch. Nothing is entering the body. Like a nicotine patch, you get nicotine, right? With this patch, it just sits on top of your body. Your body heat and light hit that patch. Depending which materials and amino acids are in that patch, it's reflecting back into the body different spectrums of light. Those spectrums of light are what activate healing. Just like the guy in the video said, you know, do you know that tumors and disease are very dark energy? How many of you know that tumors are very dark? Cysts are very dark. Okay, it's stagnant energy. When you bring light into the darkness, do you know what happens? It cannot stay dark. That's what happens, right? So what happens with the X39 patch is when you put that patch on your body, it actually activates a peptide called GHKCU. Now, I am holding a book right here. It's called How to Reverse Aging, if you guys can see that book. Okay, it's written by my friend, Dr. John Harmon. He's going to do a presentation for us in the next few weeks here. But Dr. John Harmon wrote all about how we can reverse aging with the GHKCU peptide. It actually resets 4,000 to 6,000 of our genes to a younger, healthier state. So how do we wear this patch? You put it on your body anywhere. It's systemic. So on wherever you put it is where it will go to the energy where it needs it the most. Your body knows God designed you to heal. Say it out loud. God designed my body to heal. Say it. Believe it. You've got to believe it, right? I think for years they told us, you're not smart enough to know what's wrong with you. Yes, you are. God designed your body to heal. Put a patch on. Let the light going to work at healing the dark areas inside your body where the disease is, right? And I'm not telling you, again, we don't treat, cure, prevent disease. I'm saying that the body is going to restore the innate ability for the body to regenerate and restore and activate healing mechanisms that we do not have if we're not wearing the patch. If you are not wearing the patch, then what are you doing to activate this light in your body? What are you doing? You're not doing anything. We cannot do this outside of this patch. So I want you guys to know 12 hours on and you take it off for 12 hours. Another great book. It's called GHK Copper Peptide by Dr. Picard for skin, hair, and beauty. Hey, just look over here to the right. This is the back of the book. How many of you want to look better? How many want to increase your hair growth, your thickness? How many want to smooth some rough skin lines, right? How many of you want to protect your body from disease? Come on, fight pain and anxiety. Do you know the GHK Copper Peptide affects 700 nervous system genes? Do you think that we could use a little help with our nervous system? Look around. The world is wild, guys. We've got something that can actually help to repair damaged DNA at a cellular level with the GHK copper peptide. Now that is what is activated by that X39 patch, okay? Restores healthy function of cells, damaged by COPD, protects lung tissue. Again, this is all the science according to Dr. Lauren Picard when he studied what this GHK copper peptide does for our bodies. We've got the patent to prove it. Look at this. It's 4 years in here. It says that this patch produces a beneficial effect to a human body, such as activation of stem cells. This is what the patent reads. Improvement in strength, improvement in stamina, pain relief, right? Increases copper peptide, GHK copper in a subject's body. Wow, wow, wow. Like we've got the patent to back it up. You've got to prove a patent to get a patent, okay? And then we've got over 90 clinical studies in our back office. For those of you science minds in here and you say, I want to see the science, we got the science. I'll show you the science. This is great. These are the benefits that we see: increased strength, reduce inflammation, amazing, amazing health benefits. Get started today for your health. Take back your power by believing you can. God designed your body to heal. You don't know about phototherapy from your doctor because your doctor's not going to make any money telling you about phototherapy. Your doctor makes money by telling you about drugs. This is not a drug. This is activating the innate ability of our bodies to heal. Okay, guys? So X39, the longer you wear it, the better it gets. Now, I want to tell you, if you've not been to This Is It Info, write that down real quick, jot that down. ThisIsItInfo.com. ThisIsItInfo.com. Go there, click on testimonials at the top. Look up people with back conditions, look up people with migraines, look up people with, all kinds of autoimmune conditions. I mean, look up kids. People are using these patches on their family members, and it's phenomenal what's happening, right? David Schmidt says these patches are not anti-aging, they're actually age reversing. This is so powerful what we have our hands on. And again, ThisIsItInfo.com. Can you guys see that? Nod your head if you see ThisIsItInfo.com. I got to see some heads nodding. Okay. Do you see that slide that I have? Take a picture with your iPhone so you remember to look at it later. Check out the videos on there. Check out the testimonies. Don't just trust me. Go do your due diligence, everybody. Now, there's other patches. I'm going to take 30 seconds on each one. We got X49 that elevates the copper peptide, AHKCU. That's good for heart health, blood flow, bone health. And it actually acts as a Faraday cage to protect our body from all of that invisible radiation that we're all being exposed to. Okay, so I love this patch. If you're a person over the age of 40 on here, the combination of X39 and 49, amazing, amazing for your bone density and your lean muscle. Okay, can you guys see that? Energy Enhancer, I told you about that one already. That was the first patch created 20 years ago by the Department of Defense, contracted David Schmidt to create this patch. Wild. Eon, amazing at reducing cortisol levels, amazing at reducing inflammation. Do you guys know that sometimes people do not heal because of chronic inflammation? So the first thing we got to do is imagine your car is running in the garage and there's a brick on the gas pedal and you're supposed to go out and change the oil. Would you just walk out to your car and lift up the hood and start changing the oil? No, you go inside the car, take the brick off the gas pedal, shut the car off. That's what the Eon patch does. It pulls our body from that fight or flight state back to parasympathetic, where it balances the nervous system. It's called rest and repair, okay? Or rest and regenerate. So when your body's in that reparative state, it can actually heal. Most people's bodies do not heal because they're always in that constant fight or flight state. This patch is also known as the longevity patch. Amazing, amazing for anyone with any autoimmune things going on. Look here. See the little people, the man with under his belly button, the base of the neck, on the hand there, this is called liver 2 in Chinese medicine. You got it on the inside of the ankle there. Do you see all of these areas to put the patch? Okay. LifeWave, another great one. I could talk all night about it, but I'm not. It is for immediate acute pain relief. It works right now. It will take you out of pain within 15 seconds. It is better than an ibuprofen. It is better than acetaminophen. It's natural. And again, the only thing entering the body is light. This should be in every family's health arsenal. I believe in generations of health and generations of financial freedom. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It is required by every single cell of your body. Do you know when you're out of glutathione, you die? You need glutathione, okay? And our patches help to increase your glutathione by up to 600%, but average is 300% increase in glutathione in a 24-hour period. Amazing at detoxification. If you want to start with a more gradual detox, just start with X39. After you've been on X39 for a while, because X39 patch actually increases glutathione 30%. After you've been on that a while, then go to the glutathione patch, okay? SP6, only to be worn on the left side of the body. It literally helps to combat cravings. We're talking smoking, drinking, food. I also see remarkable things with women with hot flashes. When you put it on that inside ankle right here up there, amazing for hormonal balance for all the ladies in the house, okay? It increases the physiological functioning of your organs up to 98%. That's a whole nother presentation. Silent Night regulates the natural and healthy production of melatonin. Did you guys see that? Can you see Silent Night? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. I want to make sure my slides are tracking with me because I'm moving quick. Can you see Silent Night? Carol Kirkland? I see your face. You can see it? Can you see Silent Night? Yep. Okay. Silent Night actually helps to increase melatonin. And again, look at the different places you can put it. See those little spots? Those are acupressure points. Do not let anybody tell you that acupressure points are the work of the devil. My God put points on my body that I can push on that are going to eliminate pain. That is not the work of Satan. That is the work of my Father in heaven, making my body fearfully and wonderfully in his image. right, guys? So how about putting this light in areas of our body that are going to activate more melatonin for that deep regenerative sleep? Carnosine helps the neurological system, helps the eyeballs, okay? Makes you stronger. I love it right there at the base of the sternum. It's my favorite patch to wear at the base of the sternum. You physically feel stronger when you wear it. Elavita activates a peptide called epithylamine. Epithylamine is a brand new book that Dr. Harmon just wrote. It's called The Reversing Aging of this Peptide, epithylamine. This peptide is called the Fountain of Youth. Elavita is marketed as a skincare patch. You'll look better with your skin. Well, do you know why? Because epithylamine actually decalcifies your pineal gland and gets you into the deep regenerative stages of sleep. My friends, there is something about beauty sleep. Okay, if you didn't sleep good and you wake up and you look like you hit every branch on the tree of life, you know what I'm saying. If you're not a non-sleeper on here, wear the Elavita at night. It's incredible to help get you into that reparative stages of sleep. Okay. And then of course, all of our patches are amazing for pets, animals, dogs, cats, horses, birds, and you can wear any of the patches on any of the animals, but they do market AccuLife specifically for horses if you're a horse lover in the group. Now, I can talk all night about electrolytes. I'm not going to. It's important that we have, listen, when your body begins to heal itself, it needs electrically charged minerals. Okay. Another thing your doctor doesn't tell you, listen, if you get sick right now and you go to the hospital, what's the first thing they give you? A bag of saline. It's called salt water. They hook you up to an IV and you get saline. Salt water. That's the first thing they give you. You need electrolytes for your body to heal. Your doctor forgot to tell you about that. So you need sodium, you need potassium, and you need magnesium, especially, okay? And we do entire presentations where I talk about this, but electrolytes help the patch to work faster. If you are not having the results you're looking for with the patch, you need to consume more electrolytes because the body wants to repair and regenerate with the light, but it needs the electrolytes, light. It needs the electricity from the light, the electrolytes to create the spark in the cells so that your body can heal and repair the mitochondria, which is what the patch is going to help you to do. Okay. All right. When you get started, you can start with a bronze pack for $125. You can start with a silver for $299, a gold for $499, a platinum for $999, and a diamond for $1,600. Now, the beautiful thing about all of these is when you launch your business, let's talk the money. Say it to me, show me the money. We got to get good at show me the money. Show me the money. When you launch your business, guess what? Your pack that you're buying is called a business pack. Okay, you're launching your business that you're going to share this patch with people who need it, who are praying for a solution for their health or their finances, or probably both. Okay, so if you're on here and you're serious about launching a business to become highly tax efficient, I would recommend getting started with the gold, the platinum, or the diamond. You figure out what's right for your budget with gold, platinum, or diamond, and you can start at the gold. And when you're ready, you can upgrade to platinum. And then when you're ready again, you can upgrade to diamond. The beautiful thing is when you upgrade, you actually get one free sleeve when you go gold. You get 2 full free sleeves of X39 when you go platinum, or when you go diamond, you get 3 free sleeves of X39 or 49, or 6 sleeves of the other patches for free. So you get free patches the bigger the kit that you do. It's a tax deduction. You get more patches for free. And listen, when you're starting to patch people, you're going to want to share a couple of these things. People are going to say, can I try one? Sure, right? So again, that is your wholesale package. That's your wholesale business package. You're paying that $500 for your product. You're not paying it for a franchise fee. You're not throwing some money in the air somewhere. You're buying patches with that amount of money, okay, guys? And you're buying them at the best possible deal, okay? So start with gold or higher, and you can always upgrade at your convenience, and you just pay the difference in price. And you get the difference in patches when you upgrade. All right. Now, we share because we care. How many of you know that? Sometimes wearing is sharing, like it was for me on the airplane. Because I was wearing the patches and having the boys wear the patch, the gal signed up in Chicago who's now giving them to all these wonderful children that are on the spectrum, and they're having a tremendous results already, you guys. So what's most important in your life? Is it your family? Is it time freedom? Is it travel? Maybe it's just to escape that broken mindset that you've had for so long with health and wealth. You get around me, you're going to start believing in yourself. You get around people of LifeWave that are having success and patching others, you're going to start experiencing a mental freedom that you never knew you could have, right? Because the world kind of keeps us sick. The world keeps us in the dark about these things. And I'm here to tell you that the Lord says, let there be light, right? And we are here shining the light so that you know your way out of debt, out of sickness, right, guys? Out of poverty. We want to step into the light. So when you get started, you automatically, when you buy your package, go talk to the person who invited you on here tonight, get your package right away. When you get your package, you automatically get your own free website. You don't have to pay $5,000 or $10,000 for someone to build a website. You get it for free. Immediately when you sign up, you're going to get your free website. Okay. You automatically immediately get your free app. It's called LifeWave In Touch. As soon as you sign up and are a brand partner, wholesale member, you get your free website and you get your free app. Okay. Immediately. Now, with your free website, if you want to start sharing this technology, because you will, because I'm going to tell you, the stories are so heart-wrenching, the results are so miraculous, you have to share this, right? God is like calling us up saying, share light, right? So what happens is when people go to your website and purchase the bronze pack, you're going to earn an extra 15 bucks. Not making you rich right now. Silver, you're going to earn an extra $50 bonus when people go silver at your website. When someone goes gold at your website and they say, I want 5 sleeves of these things because I have 5 members of my family, you're going to receive a $100 bonus. Okay. When you go platinum, you'll receive a $150 bonus. And when you go diamond, when someone at your website goes diamond, they go there and order at your website, you're going to get 200 bucks. But listen to this. Look at this blue box here. When you yourself upgrade to that biggest pack of diamond, let's say you say, I'm going all in, I'm investing the 1,600 bucks for these patches. It's a tax deduction. I'm going to watch Scott Brandon's video about how I can write this off. I'm going to figure out that tax side of it because I want to be financially literate. I'm changing the trajectory of my plane. I'm not flying to South Dakota anymore. I'm flying to Florida and I got to learn and do different, right? But as soon as you go diamond and upgrade to diamond, instead of you making 150 and 200 off those 2 packs, platinum and diamond, you're now going to make $300 and $500 off those top 2 tiers. So when you sponsor people that come in with diamond, like you did, you're going to make a $500 bonus. And they really do that for the first 14 weeks to up pay you in your business to get you launched so that you can recoup that initial investment. Also, when you go diamond, it keeps you completely active with your business for 3 full months. So you don't need to do any additional ordering. Okay. And you can talk more to your sponsor about that. Your sponsor will help you. Now, diamond is a great, smart business investment because first of all, you're getting a tax deduction of $1,600 right out of the gates. That's number one. That's not counting your cell phone, your computer, your internet, your mileage, your meals, all those things, right? But what happens is, let's say in a 3-month window, 90 days, you go out and you sponsor 4 people that go diamond with you. 4 diamonds. You're looking for diamonds. Say it out loud. I'm looking for diamonds. I'm looking for people who want more. I'm looking for people who are not just talking about getting by. They want more. They're changing the trajectory of their airplane. I'm looking for those people and God will bring them to you because it's reticular activation system. You're looking for people who want bigger. You're looking for people who want more fun, more health, more adventure, more time freedom, right? More joy. Look for those people. And if you get 4 that do diamond with you in the first 90 days, check that out. You've recouped your initial $1,600 investment like that. Now I'm going to tell you, you're going to sponsor a lot of bronzes, silvers, and golds on that journey as well, but you got to get to work. If you want to be an entrepreneur, act like an entrepreneur. If you want freedom, start doing the behaviors that are going to get you financially free. Okay. And griping and moaning is not a behavior that's going to get you financially free. You got to get in the airplane and say, we're changing directions. Okay. Binary commissions. You are part of the best team on the planet. It's called This Is It Team. Now, if you've not been to This Is It info, I showed you that earlier. That's going to give you all the health things you need to know, all the testimonies you need to see. You can use our testimonies and our miracles until you get your own. And then we want to borrow yours too, because miracles are a currency in LifeWave. Okay. Then we have a business team page called thisisitteam.com. Write that down. Thisisitteam.com. Thisisitteam.com. When you go there, it's all the business tools that you need. to explain how to launch your business, how to onboard. When you first sign up, you want to go do the onboarding, right? But you are part of a team. When you're growing your business, you've got two legs. That's it. You've got a right leg and a left leg on your team. Okay. This is called a binary in team commissions. Okay. And so what happens to get started, you find two people that want to do silver packs for $2.99 or higher on your right leg. And you want to find two people who want to do silver packs $2.99 or higher on your left leg. It could be a husband and a wife. It can be your sister-in-law. It can be your coworker, right? Just find people that want to do that silver pack or higher. And when you get those 4 people, you achieve the first rank of something called manager. Okay. Manager is where the money begins. All right. And you get paid, they cap you at $1,500 a week. A director, you're capped at $2,500 a week. Senior director is $3,500 a week. Executive director, $7,500. Presidential is $12,500 per week. And SPD is $25,000 per week. Now, Scott and I officially have 23 SPDs on our team. Okay. So we've got a lot of managers. We've got thousands of managers. Okay. We've got thousands of directors. We've got hundreds of senior directors and executive directors. But do you know that we've got like 23 senior presidential directors on our team? So we've got people literally, guys, think about this, in a 2-year time frame that have the potential to earn over $1.2 million this year. This is it. This is the ticket to financial freedom. You've got to get after it. Matching bonus is another way to make money. When you bring people in, your first line leadership, you get a 25% check match on them. Your second line leadership, maybe you sponsor your sister sponsors her chiropractor. You get a 20% check match on that second line leadership. And then, of course, third line leadership is another 20%. So we'll get into more depth tonight. We do have millionaire mindset, or excuse me, we have business training tonight where I'm going over all the ways of making money thoroughly. And we're talking more about how to win that free trip to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. For those that might be interested in a little fun and adventure in November, we're heading to Punta Cana, and lots of people already on our team have already won the trip. So the bottom line is the sky is the limit. You can also sponsor retail customers and preferred customers at your website. Of course, you've got a free website. So you get paid when people go to your website and they order product. You're always making a commission on that. And again, that regional incentive trip we'll talk more about tonight at 8 p.m. sharp. We're going over the business training. You guys, this is it. I want to tell you, with our boys on my desk here, we literally teach our boys Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad for teens. And it teaches people the secrets about money that you don't learn in school. Listen, the things that we're teaching our boys now, Bo didn't even learn at college, and he just graduated with a degree. He didn't learn the stuff that we're teaching. He came home from college and he said, Mom and Dad, I've learned more about business working with you for 1 month than I learned in 5 years at college. Okay. Doesn't want to make you send your kids to college for business and marketing, does it? Because the truth is AI, artificial intelligence, and the internet is changing things at breakneck speeds. They can't possibly keep up with the textbooks. We're better off launching a home-based business, teaching our kids financial literacy and financial independence, getting our families creating generations of wealth, busting out of the poverty mindsets, busting out of the sickness mindsets, standing strong. Whom the sun sets free is free indeed, and we are not going back, my friends. So we're busting everybody else out of sickness and that poverty mindset, because we are here to bring life and bring it to the fullest, as Jesus told us. We are here to bring the light. It says in James, in the book of James, it says that every good and perfect gift comes from heaven, the Father of heavenly light. How many of you know that when you're in debt and then you're not, that's a gift that you worked for? How many of you know that when you're sick and then you're well, that's a gift, right? So God is a gracious Father in heaven, and he is for you, and he loves you, and he wants you well, and he wants you wealthy. With that being said, I'm going to cut you guys loose. Thank you for sticking with me. If you want to be on our team, which is the best team on the planet, if you're a guest of mine, just reach out to me on Messenger. I can send you my team link so you can join my team, so I can mentor and help you. If someone else sent you their link, make sure that you go back to that person and get that link so you can launch your business tonight. I'm going to be posting and sharing tonight the video where Scott talks about tax benefits. We're going to talk about it at 8 in our team page, so you can understand how to create financial literacy for yourself and your kids and your kids' kids, because we are generational health and wealth creators. All right, you guys, may the Lord bless you, keep you, and shine his face upon you, be gracious to you, and grant you favor all the days of your life. Why not you? Why not this? Why not now? Just say it out loud. Why not me, Lord? Why not me? God bless all of you. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you at 8. Take care.